Please give out the Gemaras. Be'ezer Hashem, we're learning a Geschmack Inyan today. Say, today is today.
I was at a Levaya in Williamsburg. The Rabbi was mourning his wife who passed away in an accident. And he was saying Hashem, Hassan, Hashem Yikach over and over. And meanwhile, the people are screaming from pain.
Yeah.
Everybody, there was so much pain, and there was so much connection with Hashem also.
There's a famous painting, you probably heard of it. It's called The Scream.
A famous what?
Famous
Painting.
It's called
The Scream.
Because I was hearing what you were saying earlier about what happened, and sometimes that is the only response that a person can do. Because you should always have good health.
Amen. 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 Amen.
When Hashem punishes somebody, he sends a pain too. Goes Mitzrayim.
Imaya noichi b'tzara. One of the Yesodis of Yiddishkeit, Hashem is always in the pain. I may not see Him, which is what makes it painful. If I would see Him in the pain, and I would see the full meaning and purpose, it's not so painful.
That takes a lot of hachana to get to that.
That's part of the Hester. That's part of the Hester. V'anoichi haster aster. I will conceal myself. So the Baal Shem Tov says, the anoichi is also haster aster. The anoichi is in the Hester. They have the song, from Afilu Bahastura, right? How does it go? Afilu. B'toich Hastora. Connecting the whole Torah.
No, I'm talking about things like this. People get an agent because things are locked up. I wonder how that works. How you think that works?
Okay. Yeah, Be'ezer Hashem. Kaprenda. Okay, Tayir Yidden. Please distribute this today. Yeah, it's one page. No, yesterday was the Rambam. This is Aran. Morning, welcome everybody. I have to get a little better with the time. What happens is I get carried away. I don't realize the time. Sometimes it's b'shoigig, sometimes it's b'oinus, and sometimes it's b'mezid. Also, you ever when you daydream, sometimes in your machshava, something you think about it, right, and it takes like 3 seconds you thought it over. So sometimes I think of an idea and I think that to say it over, it'll take 3-4 minutes. Because in machshava, in thought, like you can process a whole hour of conversation in a few seconds. But to say it sometimes takes an hour. So that calculation is also, you have to be realistic with it. Right. candle? That's the next sugya. The next sugya, Zayin Amid Beis, is about a candle. At the bottom of Zayin Amid Beis, the next Amid is about a candle. Good question. Good question. Let's summarize the Shita of the Rambam in Le versus Al, articulated in Hilchas Brachas Perek Yud Aleph in a series of halachas, is apparently, as the Mefarshim point out, directly deduced from our sugya of Gemara. The way the Rambam did it, in summation, is quite straightforward. The Gemara quoted a machlekes between Rav Papi and Rav Papa. Rav Papi said Livayir, Rav Papa said Albiyur. The Gemara said, everybody agrees Livayir connotes the future. Albiyur, however, created an argument. When he says Al, Rav Papa holds it connotes the future as well. Rav Papi says no. It connotes primarily the initial instinctive interpretation of Al is the past. Thus Rav Papi says Livayir, Rav Papa says Albiyur, because Al, according to Rav Papa, connotes the future as well. It doesn't primarily and instinctively conjure the image of it has been done already. And then the Gemara brings the three questions challenge Rav Papi, who believes in Livayir. Question number one was from Mila. A Moil says Al Hamila, before the circumcision. Obviously, Al does not mean the past, because you're doing the bris now. The Gemara gave a very interesting answer. He can't say Lamed Lamul, because he's not obligated to do the bris. The father is obligated. He's a shliach of the father. So he's not commanded to do the bris. There's a father alive, and therefore the commandment is primarily on the father. Not on him, he's a shliach of the father. So he says, Al Hamila. Question number two was Shchita. The Shochet says, Al HaShchita. And here the Gemara answers, similarly, as a Shochet, I'm not obligated to do the Shchita. You could have also done the Shchita. There's no obligation on every individual Jew do Shchita. Like there is an obligation to put on tefillin or to hear shofar. Many of us are not sheikhtim, because there's no mitzvah to be a sheikhit. You could also be the sheikh. Just like by Mila. By shchit it's even deeper. That what? Nobody is obligated to be a sheikhit. It's not like Mila, the father got to do it, not me. I'm the moil, I'm not the father. Here, nobody got to do it. If you want to eat meat, you got to shecht. You don't want to eat meat, you don't have to shecht. So that's why you can't say lishchait, you say al hashchita. And in both cases, the Gemara says, what if the father himself would do it? He would say lamul. What if I'm shechting my carbon pesach? I am obligated to shecht my carbon pesach. Then I should say lishchait. But if I'm shechting for you, or even if I'm shechting for myself, but I'm not obligated, I'm shechting a chicken because I want chicken, then I say al hashchita. Third question was lulav. Al netilas lulav. According to Rav Papi, you should say litoy lulav. The Gemara says, no, precisely. Al netilas lulav is actually a proof for him. Why? Because when you picked up the lulav, you already did the mitzvah. And al means the past. Al connotes the past, so you say al. And then the Gemara says, Hilchasa al bir chametz. And here was the Rambam's unique chiddush in this Gemara, that the halacha al bir chametz did not, like everybody else says, go away from Rav Papi and agree with Rav Papa. No. Rambam holds that this is actually consistent with Rav Papi, even though the halacha is al bir, and Rav Papi said livayir, but the logic of it is consistent with Rav Papi. In other words, the Rambam embraces the sugya. The Rambam doesn't believe that the sugya at this point diverted, right, and moved away from Rav Papi and said, forget Rav Papi, we're going with Rav Papa. Why? Because the Rambam's chiddush is that bir chametz is a bracha for something that happened already. Why? Because the moment I'm about to do bdika, Gomar beliboy levatel. In my heart, I want to get rid of this chametz. I'm not interested in this chametz. That is mitzvahs bir min haTorah. So when I say the bracha, it's al biur chametz. Thanking Hashem for the opportunity of destroying the chametz. Not the opportunity to destroy, the opportunity of destroying the chametz, which I already did. Not physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Fascinating vart. The Rambam's a chiddush. If so, the Rambam says you're right. Lamed means the future. Al means the past. Biur chametz happened. So you say al, just like Natilas Lulav, just like Lulav. And therefore he embraces the whole sugya. Because he says that Allah is like Rav Papi. And that's why the Rambam says if you circumcise your own son, you say lamel. And if you shecht your own carbon pesach, you say lishchait. Because it's an obligation on you and it's happening in the future. And thus the Rambam, from this Gemara, it seems, formulated 3 conditions to be able to say li and not al. Condition number 1, it has to be something that is an obligation unequivocally. It's not a obligation that is based on a voluntary foundation. Condition number 2, it's an obligation, but that's not enough. It's my obligation, and I'm doing it. Condition number 3, I have to may say the bracha before the mitzvah. If any of these are missing, you got to go from lamed to al, from le to al. And according to him, this was the rhythm, this was, what do they call today? The algorithm. This was the algorithm that defines Birchas HaMitzvahs. And what are the practical manifestations of this? You know what an algorithm is, yeah? You're in computer. An algorithm. This is it. Because the Rishonim are struggling to find the rules. What are the algorithms for Le'anal? So what does this mean practically? If I'm going to wash my hands on Natilas Yadayim, or I'm going to shech the chicken, I'll say al Natilas Yadayim. Al hashchita. Covering blood. After the shchita. Al kisidam. According to the Rambam, why? Because it's reshus. I don't have to do it. There was a way to avoid it. God does not dictate that I have to eat bread and wash my hands. There was a way to avoid it. In other words, the obligation comes after a premise and a foundation which is voluntary. So it's not vitzivanu litol yadayim. It's vitzivanu al netilas yadayim. Number 2, it may be an obligation, but not on me. For example, I'm a moil. I'm circumcising your child. I'll say, al hamila. If I'm the father, I'll say, limoil. Limoil esaben, lamol esaben, not al hamila. Condition number 3, the bracha has to be before. If the bracha is after, for example, netilas lulav, biur chametz, I picked up the lulav, I already did the mitzvah, even though it's my obligation, I'm doing it myself, and it's on me, and it's not reshus, I still say al. 3 conditions the Rambam gave us.
It's on you. You have a 4-corner.
So let's summarize this fast. One moment. Let's go through what things. The Kesef Mishnah mentions a few in Hilchas Brachas, and a few we have to figure out. Lahaniach tefillin makes sense. I'm putting on tefillin. The bracha is before the mitzvah. I put the tefillin on my arm. I didn't tie it yet, right? I just have it. I'm holding it in my hand. I didn't do the mitzvah yet. It's an obligation. It's not voluntary. I can't say, oh, you have to put on tefillin because you want to get out of bed. No, even if you stay in bed, you have to put on tefillin. Even on Martin Luther King's Day, you have to put on tefillin. It's not. It's an obligation. It's not like Natilas Yadayim. Don't eat bread. You won't wash. Who told you to eat carbs? The doctor says you shouldn't eat carbs anyway. You can't say that by tefillin. It's an obligation. It's an obligation on me. I can't put on tefillin for you. There's no shlichus in tefillin. I could ask you to do other things for me. I can't ask you to put on tefillin for me. It's called a mitzvah shebegufa. So I have to do it. It's me doing it. It's a mitzvah. After the bracha, I say lahaniach. Tefillin shorosh. According to the Rambam, you don't make a second bracha. But if you spoke in middle, you say al mitzvahs tefillin. You change to al. But now we understand the Kesef Mishnah says why? Because part of the mitzvah was done already. Because the tefillin shel yad you put on already, so you say al mitzvah's tefillin.
Right. You also say it after you put it on.
Huh?
You're saying it after you
You put it on the head before you tighten it on the head. Yeah, so you say it before the shorosh, but already after shel yad. So he says al mitzvahs. And you might add that it's not just shorosh is a separate mitzvah completely. There's two mitzvahs in shorosh. One is to put it on your head, and one is to put it on your head after it's on your hand. Because it says, V'hoyu l'taytafos. So when I put on the tefal yad, I'm also doing part of the shorosh mitzvah. So that part of the mitzvah was done already. So I say, al mitzvahs. It's very geschmack. You understand? Lihis atev batzitzis makes perfect sense. I'm a chuyev to put on. I have dalit kanfas. I'm a chuyev to put on a talis. So now I say le. I'm doing it before, and it's on me, and it's there's no shlichus there too. Like,
This is the chiyuv of the Tal's cotton, you see. If you have it in the corner,
Isn't the talis the same as the tzitzis? If you have four corners, you put it on. Why is it different?
you're saying don't buy a talis, don't buy dalit kanfas, and you don't have to wear it.
Unless there's a special chiyuv by davening that you have to have.
Oh.
There is no.
In other words, at least the Chazal, right, wanted you should wear a talis. You understand?
So there's a special chiyuv just to have.
The Gemara says, Kol ha-koyre krishma, beli talis or beli tefillin. So it's a mitzvah to have a talis. So we say le. But tzitzis take. You say al mitzvah tzitzis. And you can answer, according to this, because it's rishus. No, but who don't buy? Itaka says midas chasidus to buy 4 garments and have tzitzis. So it's like shchita. I want to shechta. I want to eat the chicken.
Tzitzis is only maybe it's chassid. It's not a special chiyuv at all.
No. Another point with tzitzis is, very good question, most people make the bracha after they're wearing it already. Right? Because another reason for al. Another reason for al. Besides it's voluntary, you have the tzitzis, and then you make the bracha because you want to wash your hands, you want to say brachas, right? So therefore it's al. Works perfectly. Sfira sa'omer, al, because if Mishnah says, because we're counting to the omer. The carbon omer happened. You understand? It's a mitzvah that's continuing a mitzvah that happened. Even though there's a mitzvah to count tonight, but it's part of the omer that happened already. Very powerful, beautiful vart. Lishmaya kol shofar makes sense. Even though I'm blowing for the whole olam, but I'm also blowing for me. It's a mitzvah on me. And I'm doing it for me, not only for you. So it's lit, and I'm about to do it. I make the bracha before I blow shofar, not after I blow shofar. Lishmaya kol shofar. Al divrei soira. The Rambam holds al divrei soira. I should say some sidurim have lasoik b'divrei soira. Right? That's what you say. Lasoik b'divrei soira. But the Rambam's nusach is, it's also the Rizal's nusach, al divrei soira. Why al? You're about to learn. What does the Kesef Mishnah say? Because the obligation to learn Torah is yoimam v'layla. If you would say le, it could sound like the obligation now to learn. An hour ago, there was also an obligation to learn. I may not be able to because I had to sleep, I had to go to work, whatever it is. I had to do something. But that's why you say al divrei soira. Also, fascinating explanation. So how the algorithm actually works. Chanukah, lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Beautiful. I'm about to light a candle. I'm doing it. I'm obligated to light a Chanukah candle. It's not voluntary to light a Chanukah candle. Chanukah, you have to light a candle with Rabbanan. It's not Madaraisa, remember? Lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. I'm lighting a Shabbos candle. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbos Kodesh or Yom Tif or Yom HaZikaron. Even though some people over there make the bracha after. Because they're afraid that if you don't have kavanah not to be Makabel Shabbos, once you make the bracha before, you won't be able to light. They just cover their eyes before the bracha. Okay. That's what the Ramah says in Shulchan Aruch, right? This Eitzah, which is what women do. So you see, this is a lahadlik. So this is the algorithm of the Rambam. The Kesef Mishnah remains with a question. Megillah, al mikra Megillah, al achilas matzah, al achilas marer. I'm eating matzah, why don't I say lechel matzah? Because the Mishnah remains with a question. Megillah, matzah, marer, and also if you're eating the carbon pesach, al achilas ha-pesach. That's what it remains. That was the question that the Kesef Mishnah remains with in Hilchos Brachos. Mikra Megillah, achilas matzah, marer, psar ha-pesach.
Was that the Rambam? Who was the one who said that the mitzvah of the Glulav was Nanuyan?
No, the Tosfos says, you're asking after you shake a lulav, why are you making a bracha? The answer is because you didn't finish the mitzvah yet. Because there's a mitzvah to do na'anuyim and halal. So since you didn't finish the mitzvah, you could say the bracha after you pick up the lulav, even though you fulfilled the mitzvah. Although today, as I told you, we do another solution, and that is, we pick up the lulav in a way that you're not doing the mitzvah yet. Right? Because if you pick up the esrog upside down, or you don't pick up the esrog, or you have kavanah not to do the mitzvah, you didn't do the mitzvah. But since if you pick it up stam, you do the mitzvah, so they made al netilas lulav. And then you could say, once they made al netilas lulav, they're not going to differentiate how you do it. They kept the bracha. They're not going to say, for you liter lulav, for you al netilas lulav. Although the Rambam does say, the Rambam says, if you pick up the lulav after the bracha, you say liter lulav. The Rambam doesn't get nispal. He's consistent. If it's before the mitzvah, you say le. After the mitzvah, you say al. If it's an obligation.
What about
Pas
Pas Shachris? Is that a fear?
Shachris? No. You have things that are traditions, that are good things, but this Ashekidishanu b'mitzvahs v'tzivanu is a special category. He sanctified us with these mitzvahs. Or in Tanya he says Kiddishanu comes the word Kiddushin. Kiddishanu. He married us through these mitzvahs. You understand? It's part of the marriage. Kiddishanu miloshin Kiddushin. Now one thing you learn from all of this is that a bracha has meaning. You told that to me, right? That's one thing. You say a bracha, it's not gehakt. Le'al, it has meaning. And if from this whole sugya, next time you say a bracha, you could stop for a moment and think what you're saying. Shine eyes get salt the hot sauce. Shine kedai. But you see, it's not stam. Lehadlik, al achilas.
Why don't we say la'asok b'divrei Torah?
There's two nuschayos. Some say lasik b'divrei Torah, which makes sense. That's not a question. You woke up in the morning, you're making a bracha. The shittas haramam is al divrei Torah. So the Kesef Mishnah, the Beis Yosef says, because Torah is a constant obligation. It's a beautiful word. You can't say, Hashem trying to learn. What do you mean now? He told you to learn. He told you to learn also 2 hours ago.
I want to fulfill it now.
Fine. All the other mitzvahs, laniach tefillin. I didn't have a mitzvah of tefillin in the middle of the night. There's no mitzvah of tefillin in the middle of the night. I didn't have a mitzvah of talis in the middle of the night. I didn't have a mitzvah to light Chanukah candles in the middle of the day. Now is a mitzvah. He commanded me to be madlik. He commanded. I'm going to fulfill it, but the tzivonu is not for now. Leisha b'sukkah is perfect. No, you nichnas. You go into the sukkah, you want to eat. If you walk into a sukkah, you don't make a bracha. You're going to eat. Before you eat, you say Leisha b'sukkah. You're right. You make kiddush, bar priyagaf, and Leisha b'sukkah. Or you make mezainis, Leisha b'sukkah, hamaitzi, whatever it is. If you leave the sukkah and you come back for lunch, for dinner, you can make a new bracha. It's very good. The lamed is perfect. It's me. I can't make a shliach. I can't say, I got to eat breakfast. You go to the sukkah. I'll eat breakfast at home. I have to do it. I'm doing it for me. It's my chiyuv, right? And I'm doing it before I eat. So it's a lamed. You're not going to find too many contradictions. You could try. You're not going to find too many contradictions. The Kesef Mishnah found. You're not going to find so many. You're not going to find so many. That's a good question.
You said yes, the answer to the Kesef Mishnah's kasha by Megillah and by Matzah and Kabbalah Pesach.
I have a different question. One of my children acted as a mohel for his own son, but the mohel was holding his hand when he did it. Which
Ich weiß. The Moil was holding his hand. What would the Rabbi say about the bracha? It's interesting, yeah. Interesting. And mezuzah is also very geschmack. Likvoya mezuzah. Very good, right? I'm putting on my mezuzah on my house. Before I put it on, I make a bracha. Lamed. It's an obligation. I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for you in your house. Then the Rabbi would hold al kviyas mezuzah. For my house, I say likvoya mezuzah. I build a fence on my house. Lasas maka on my roof. I separate truma. Lahafrish truma. Let's do halal. You say Pesach halal. What do we say? Likrayas halal. Not al kriyas halal. Or according to the Rama, ligmayas halal. Why? I have an obligation to say halal. I make the bracha before halal. Right? Nobody's doing it for me. I'm saying halal myself. Can I make a shliach to say halal for you? Hey, you say halal for me. So therefore I say lamed.
Argument that we had a while ago about between Rabbi and Rabba about so maybe by Megillah, Maror, and Matzah, maybe there are mitzvahs that we have all year round. We just do them in the time. So maybe that's why we say.
But then you can argue, but matzah is not. It's hard. The Rambam even holds you have to say lehafresh challah if I'm separating from myself. If I'm separating your truma, if you say here, do me a favor, go, I have truma, go, then I'll say ala frashas truma. Or if I'm building a fence on your roof, ala siyas maka. The Rambam is very, very consistent with these things. There's another question on the Rambam, pidyon haben. What should have been the bracha according to the algorithm on pidyon haben? Liv dois haben. I'm the daddy. I'm making the bracha before. It's a chiyuv. I can't get out of it. It should be li.
Because you have a choice.
Huh? How do you have a choice?
He can't give you a choice.
You're saying the kohen says, be in it, give it up to the kohen. That's cute. That's cute. You don't want to redeem, don't redeem. Is it really a choice? Torah says, Kol b'char b'necha tivda. I don't know that if it's a choice. It's funny how the kohen says, do you want the son or do you want the money? I once said at a pidyon haben, what type of question is this? A normal father? It's insulting. Thank God it's Aramaic. Nobody knows what hit them. If it will be in English, imagine a ceremony in America. Right? The holy person gets up. You have a choice. You want your son or you want your 40 miserable dollars? What type of son? The question is insulting. Even $1 million would be insulting. You want your child? So I said, I'll tell you pshat. It's not a question for now. It's a question 10 years from now. You're going to be involved in business. Your wife is going to say, your son needs you. Say, no, I got to make money. So the kohen is saying, you got to make a choice. The will's the geld, or the will's the kind. You want to be a father, you want money. It's going to be a choice. Not right now. A good word? Powerful word, huh? Rabbi Yaakov, you hear? It's a question for the future. And that's the problem. You don't remember.
Doesn't it beg the question? That's always something that's happening.
Right, of course. I'm saying Al Pi Drash. So I saw the Shut HaRivosh, one of the Rishonim of the Rivosh, says that the reason is because he says it's not only a mitzvah on me, it's together with the kohen. Because it's together with the kohen, so therefore I can't even do it myself. He commanded me to redeem the child. Well, what am I supposed to do? I want to redeem my child. I need you. So because it already includes somebody else, so you say al mitzvahs pidyon haben. That's the Rivosh's answer. The Meiri answers al Mikra Megillah. He says a very interesting thing. The first Mishnah Megillah says that people who lived in villages, they couldn't have the Megillah laying the Purim, so they could read it Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Dalet. And somebody had to read it for them, because you have to have an expert. He would read it for them. He would make the bracha. When he's making that bracha, he's not Yotzei Megillah, because he's going back home and he's going to read it Yud Dalet. So what bracha does he have to say? He can't say Likra Megillah. I'm doing it for you. Regularly, a Balkoyer in Shul is doing it for me, but he's also doing it for himself. But these guys couldn't do it for themselves because in your house, you live in a city. You should read the Megillah Yudalit. I'm doing it for you. So I say Al. The Meiri continues weiter. The Gemara says that when Purim is on Shabbos, you don't read the Megillah. We don't have it in our calendar. But in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, and even after the Beis Hamikdash, Purim could be on Shabbos. You don't read the Megillah. Why? The same reason you don't blow shofar. You don't shake lulav. So the Gemara says Hakol. So the Gemara Megillah and Rosh Hashanah and Sukkah, 3 places. Hakol chayavim b'tkiyas shofar and Hakol pkiyah b'tkiyas shofar. Hakol chayavim b'kriyas Megillah and Hakol pkiyah b'tkiyas Megillah. In other words, many Jews did not know how to read the Megillah as it is today. Most Jews can't read the Megillah, and that's why the Balkari usually does it more than once. And all these times he can't say Likra Megillah. He says Al Mikra. So because this was part of the institution of Megillah, so therefore, by shofar you don't have this, because shofar, you don't start doing shofar 3 days before the Rosh Hashanah and you go. Everybody comes to shul usually, right? And you make a bracha. There may be a person that I'm going to have to blow for later. Yeah. The Lubavitchers go to all the hospitals and all of this, so they have to blow, and if the person doesn't make a bracha. But essentially, it's done in shul. Yid comes shul Rosh Hashanah, even though it can happen later also. But Megillah, part of the process was, the Meiri says that you had to lay in a few days before, so therefore there was already Al Mikra Megillah, and then they didn't distinguish. They didn't distinguish. The Rambam should say, if you're laying the Megillah for yourself, you should say Lik, because he says by everything else. So I saw the Migdal Ois on the Rambam says, because the main takana of Megillah was for the tzibur, to do it with tzibur, not to do it privately. You could be yotze privately, but the takana was persumei nissa, to publicize the miracle. So even when you're doing it, when you're being yotze, he says they wanted to emphasize that it's not only an individual thing. It's Beroivam Hadris Melech. It's for the whole oilam. Other people are also being yotze. Whereby shofar, that's not negeya. Shofar is not Pusumei Nissa. Shofar is the here shofar. Here, part of the Megillah was the collective component. So the Migdal Ois and the Rambam says that's why by Megillah they put in the word al, not lit. Even though it's taka for me. So it, according to the algorithm, it's like an exception to the algorithm to Chanukah Licht is Pusumei Nissa, but it's in your house. In the bias, it's not in shul. They should see, but the mitzvah is being done for me and bnei baisai. For Kate, you don't come to shul to light Hanukkah candles, right? It's issue baisai. It's a private event. It's a private event for the public. So therefore, over there, you don't want to emphasize. There's no. It's not, I'm not doing it. You're not being yotze the city in Hanukkah. Mikra Megillah, we go to shul. One person is yotze, even though he's also yotze himself. But you still say al. Even when, and then once that happens, so then even if you do it privately in your house, you still say Al. And Ner Shabbos too is lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbos, even though people can see the light. It's not like Hanukkah, huh? No, lahadlik Ner Shel Hanukkah. By Megillah we say Al. The Migdal Ois says that this is the answer also by Pesach, Al Achilas HaPesach. Why? He says that you had to eat the Pesach, Eina Pesach Nechel, Ela B'Chabura. You have to eat it with chabura, with a group. So even though I'm making the bracha and I'm eating it and you're eating it, we don't make, it's a chiyuv on me and I'm not making a shliach and I'm doing it before, but to emphasize the concept that it's a collective experience, they put an al, not li, to say it's not just me. It's al, I'm emphasizing everybody's part of it. That's Pesach. The mitzvah is to eat matzah and maror with the carbon Pesach, which is also b'chabura. That was the official mitzvah. So mele everything got al achilas Pesach, al achilas maror, al achilas matzah. I had a problem with it because shechting the carbon Pesach is also b'chabura. It says kol kaladas, and over there the Rambam says to say lishchet. So for shechting lishchet and for eating al, it's a little strange because shchita you also don't do yourself. It says v'shachta oiseh kol kaladas Yisrael. But the problem may be because it's not ma'akiv. In other words, if you're the only one, you can still shecht. But Pesach, you have to eat. You have to eat b'chabura. But it's an interesting. The Ur Sameach says one second. The Ur Sameach says, Mary Simcha Koyin says in Hilchos Brachos another interesting svara. He says the reason you say al achilas haPesach is because the mitzvah was done already, part of the mitzvah. Because you can't eat it without shechting it, and you already shechted it. So it's a continuation to the mitzvah that was done. So when you say al achilas haPesach, it's like al sfiras ha'omer. It's the Pesach that was already done, Erev Pesach. So therefore you don't say li. It's not a mitzvah to eat, because even though it's a mitzvah to eat now, but it's already a continuation of a previous mitzvah. And the matzah and the maror, again, are part of the Korban Pesach. I also had a little challenge with that because L'Paul, you make a separate bracha. There's the bracha lishchet HaPesach, and there's the bracha al achilas Pesach. In fact, it's two separate mitzvahs. There's a mitzvah of shchit, there's a mitzvah of achila. So maybe you can compare it to Sfiras HaOmer. No, but tefillin, you're right. Tefillin is a new mitzvah, but as I told you, part of the shalyad is a din in shalrosh, because it says v'hoyu kol zman shebein einecha shtayim. But here it's l'chayra. But I guess you're saying you can't shecht without eat. So part of the mitzvah of shechting is, it says haPesach le'bom etchilose ela la'achila, that the tachlis of the shchit, even though it's a mitzvah, and you make a bracha, is for la'achila. Maybe that's the Ursameach svara. But these are all svaras that are needed to be, because how do you figure out? Okay. Now let's see a gewaldige chiddush from the Avnei Nezer. The Avnei Nezer was the son-in-law of the Kotzker Rebbe. He was the Rav of Sochachov. Sochachov is a city in Poland. His name was Rabbi Avram Bornstein. He was a Talmud and a son-in-law of the Kotzker Rebbe, Menachem Mendel Morgenstern. He's considered one of the Gaonim of Poland. And Shal Setshuvas Avnei Nezer, I saw he has a moire de kavart on al achilas matzah and al achilas maror. You have to call this an original. This is a real original word from the Avnei Nezer with tremendous implications in halacha that he gives. I've never seen his chiddush being practiced l'maisa. I'll tell you what his chiddush is, but it's certainly worth pondering and reflecting about and learning. And the chiddush of the Avnei Nezer, in order to appreciate it, it's in Shal Setshuvas Avnei Nezer. By the way, he was the father of the Shemesh Shmuel. His son was Reb Shmuel Sochach. There's a famous book called Shemesh Shmuel. People quote often on the parsha. He was a son of the Avnei Nezer. Avnei Nezer also wrote a sefer Eglei Tal on Malachas of Shabbos and Shal Setshuvas Avnei Nezer. To appreciate his chiddush, we have to learn. Here are copies. Please give out. It's one page, one side. I'm going to read it fast, but tune into this, because this is Shulchan Aruch Harav, Oire Chaim, Siman Tov Mem Vav. Okay. Siman Tov Mem Vav. We'll post the source sheets, Be'ezer Hashem on the yeshiva.net. Tov Mem Vav. Okay, here's the issue. This whole Gemara is talking about the bracha for checking chametz. When you make this bracha, before you do bdika, the night we all do it. We don't make a bracha again. That's it. That's our only bracha. Tomorrow when you burn it, there's no bracha. When you do bittul, tomorrow or tonight, there's no bracha. In fact, the Rosh says the reason we say al biur chametz is because you're doing the bittul right after. Rashi says biur includes bdika. Bdika is the beginning of biur. You're not just checking chametz. You're going to get rid of the chametz. Yeah. According to the Rambam, the word al biur is the best. According to the Rambam, the reason we say al biur, not al bdika, is unbelievable. Why? Because the bracha is not on the bdika. The bracha is on the bittul, which happened already. It's also on the bdika, which is continuing. But the main thing is al biur. Tack on the biur. Not the biur is going to happen later, tomorrow. Gevaldik, according to the Rambam. Okay. But according to everybody, Rashi says, bdika is also biur. In other words, bdika is not looking for chametz. That's not the mitzvah. Yeah, the mitzvah is to look for chametz, but not to leave it there. I found chametz. Wow. It's not hiding and seek game. It's to get rid of it. Biarti HaKadosh. Now I have a new question. What happens if you find chametz on Pesach? We learned before, you find chametz on Pesach, you got to destroy it. Do you make a bracha or not? Huh? Fascinating question. Do you make a bracha? Let's see. Tov Mem Vav. This is both in Shulchan Aruch. This is in Shulchan Aruch Harav. You did a b'dika, you find in your house chametz. In your house, in your garage, in your attic, in your basement, in your wherever it is, you're stable. You're obligated to get rid of it, to destroy it from the world. Burn it, turn it into crumbs and throw it into the river or into the ear, but get rid of it, exterminate it. What's the problem? You already did bittul. If he did bittul, he's not over on bayirah. Mikol makom chayav levarei midivrei soifrim shema yishkach v'yechlena. We remember the rabbis don't allow only bittul; they want also biur. Why? They were afraid you're going to eat it. V'chayav levarach k'mashem avarchin al kol mitzvos midivrei soifrim. So it's fascinating. I find the bread on Chag Pesach. I should probably say Chas v'Shalom. And I find it, and I make a fire in my courtyard, and I burn the bread, make a bracha, al biur chametz. Why? I'm doing a mitzvah right now. What's the mitzvah? I did bittul. The Torah says you're good. Leave it. The rabbi said you're not good. You got to get rid of it. I'm doing a mitzvah minat divrei sefer, just like lighting Hanukkah candles, just like washing my hands. Here's the question.
According to the Rambam, did you do bittul midrabanan before you burned it? Is that Shema Shabbat that I'm about to?
Yeah, but after Pesach you really can't do bittul. You remember?
No, I'm saying during Pesach, you did bittul midraisa.
Oh, before you're good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying
You did
during
bittul, yeah.
Pesach, like this halakha is learning, you make the bracha, and then you burn it. So there's no issue of bittul again, midrabanan.
Right. You're good, yeah. Now, listen to this. Didn't you make a bracha belel yudalet? Ube bracha zu nifter melevarech al bir b'yom yudal. Commission is by b'simatav lamed beis. Your bracha at night allowed you not to make a bracha by day, because by day the beer by day is included in the bracha at night. So now I have a problem. Why in the middle of Pesach can't you say that the bracha al bir chametz from the night of yudalet transfers to Pesach? Mikol makom loy niftar. I'll tell you why. Now listen to this. This is how the Shulchan Aruch Harav is explaining the svara of this halach. Loy niftar elak shemevayeres hachametz shemotza bebdika. What happens Pesach morning when you burn chametz? What are you burning? You're burning what you found. That's what's going on. That burning, you don't have to make a new bracha because it's included in what? In the bdika. When you said I'll be your chametz, you did it for the search and the destruction. So that's the bracha. Either destruction happens tomorrow, that's fine. That's what the bracha is for. It's a mitzvah in phases. Why we wait to burn it till the next day? You don't have to wait. You could burn it on Purim. You don't have to wait. But practically, by us, thank God you have this question, because you live in prosperity. But there were times, a piece of bread, you don't tell the Jews, get rid of bread the night before. That means getting rid of food. That could be a lifesaver. You let them eat as long as they can. The Chachamim Taka pushed it back 2 hours, but they're not going to push it back anymore. They're not going to push it back. They told you have to burn it an hour early, but they're not going to push it back anymore. People sold chametz. People fed it to their animals. It was very precious. You don't tell a Jew, burn it the night before. You understand? Thank God you have this question. You understand? Because it's not Toifus Malkim by you. But you have to realize where they're coming from. I mean, you could burn your chametz on Purim, you probably won't go hungry. Is that true? Very important idea. You understand what I'm saying? We always have to put ourselves in the shoes of our forefathers. We're not just going to make it the of burn chametz a day before. It's a very serious thing. It's enough. God told us to burn chametz. What He told us, we're not making it a day before. Okay. So what's the bracha? The bracha was for the bdika and for the beer of that chametz. Oyes hachametz shekana lachilus yudalet. Or even if I bought chametz Pesach in the morning to eat on that day, Erev Pesach, and I burn it, I don't have to make al beer chametz, even though it's not the chametz that I found in the bdika. Here you could say, why? Make a new bracha. The answer is, listen to this. Lefi shekol's man. This is classic Shulchan Aruch Harav with his definitions in halacha. Lefi shekol zman shaloi biras hachametz shemotza bebdika, hanei adayin loy nigmera habdika sheberach aleha, shebdika beloy bir eino shava klum. As long as you did not destroy the chametz that you found by bdika, you didn't finish the bdika. The point of bdika is not bdika. The point of bdika is what? Beer. Bdika without beer is not 50% of the work. It's 0% of the work. A person is by the chametz. Okay, there's chametz here, chametz there, chametz there. We did it. It's worthless. The whole point of the bdika is what? Beer. In other words, when could you say the mitzvah of bdika was completed? When you destroy that chametz. Ulefichach, kol chametz shemevayer, koidem shegamar levayer es hachametz shematza bebdika, ein tzarich levarich alav, fishadayin loy nigmera, mitzvahs habdika sheberach Allah. Even if I buy new chametz and I burn it, as long as I burnt it before I finished burning the chametz that I found in the bdika, I don't have to make a new bracha. You know why? Because the mitzvah's bdika did not finish yet. The mitzvah's bdika did not finish yet. Why did the mitzvah bdika not finish yet? Because I didn't burn it. So I made a bracha on a mitzvah, and that mitzvah didn't finish. As long as the mitzvah didn't finish, yeah? You don't make a new bracha because the mitzvah didn't finish. So when I buy chametz Erev Pesach in the morning, and I burn it at 10:30, 11 o'clock, I can't make a new bracha al bir chametz. Why? The mitzvah didn't finish yet, so why making a new bracha? It's all part of this mitzvah, and you already made a bracha on this mitzvah, right? A person is sitting in a sukkah, and I ate the first course, and I'm going to eat the second course. We say, oh, I'm making a new bracha. Why are you making a new bracha? The mitzvah didn't finish yet. You made a bracha on the mitzvah. If you leave the sukkah, the mitzvah is interrupted. You took a nap for 3 hours, whatever it is. You took a walk. Now you're coming back for dinner. The mitzvah was interrupted. You made a new mitzvah. So he said, when I'm burning chametz, my mitzvah is not finished. What do you mean the mitzvah? I did bdika last night. No, you didn't do bdika last night. Bdika means biur today. It's a longish mitzvah. You bought new chametz. As long as you burn it before you burn the chametz, or together with the chametz that you're burning from bdika, you don't make a new bracha. Because it's one mitzvah. It's not like the mitzvah bdika and a new mitzvah biur. The mitzvah Chanukah candles and the mitzvah halal. It's not two separate things. Bdika and beer, hainu ach. Bdika without beer is nothing. One second. Even if you didn't find any chametz during the bdika, even if you didn't find any chametz in bdika, you don't have to make a new bracha. When you destroy on the day of 14 the chametz that you knew during bdika, that you're going to have to burn, you didn't have to be baidik. Let's say there's a piece of bread on your counter. You didn't have to do bdika. You knew I have to burn this tomorrow. And in the bdika, you didn't find any chametz. Shegmar habdika huzeh. When you burn that piece of bread on your counter, that is the end of bdika. Even if you burn chametz that you never found, even if it's chametz that during the bdika you didn't know about. You didn't find it in the morning, somehow it got exposed. Or you went to buy new chametz. Or you baked chametz. It's all things that during the bdika you didn't have access to. As long as you burn all this new chametz before you finished destroying the chametz that you found during the bdika, or that you knew during the bdika that you have to be mevayer, kivon sha'adayan loy nigmera mitzvahs habdika, sha'arei beirach aleha al mitzvahs biur, va'adayan loy gomar levayrus hachametz shal yadua loy b'shas habdika she'itztarech levarei. Because the mitzvah of bdika did not finish until you destroy all the chametz that you checked, or all the chametz that you knew about at least during the bdika. That's when it's going to finish, and that you made a bracha on. So now you bought new chametz and you put it in the fire. No new bracha. You're still in the middle of the mitzvah. They did a bracha. Chayav levarich alav. But what happens if you destroy chametz that you found after you finished destroying the chametz that you knew during the bdika that you're going to have to destroy. Now you're chayiv to make a bracha because the mitzvah sabdika that you made a bracha was done. You got rid of all that chametz, all the chametz that you knew about, all the chametz that you were boidek. So mitzvah's bdikas chametz is complete. And now you're being mevayer chametz, let's say that you find now or that you bought now. So now you have a new mitzvah. What's the mitzvah? It's Erev Pesach. You got to destroy chametz, tashbisu. Right? If it's the beginning of the 6th hour, it's minat. If it's the beginning of the 7th hour, it's minat Torah. Beginning of the 6th hour, it's midrabban. This is only if you're going to destroy the new chametz after the beginning of the 6th hour. Post 11 a.m. What if I destroy my chametz 7 in the morning? 8 o'clock I go to the coffee shop and I buy a bagel. 9 o'clock I destroy the bagel. Ain't tzarich levarich alav. Why? You're already finished with all your bdikas. You finished the chametz that you knew. Now here's an original. Lafi. Shekol's man shelo higia shashishis. As long as the 6th hour did not arrive, adayin lo nigmira mitzvah sabdika. The mitzvah of bdika did not finish. It didn't finish with the fire. Why? What's the purpose of bdika? To destroy. As long as it's not 11 o'clock, you don't have to be at Mavayir. Not minat, not even Rabbanan. When does bdika and beer become a mitzvah? At 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, the previous beer became a mitzvah. When the Shah Shishis, he didn't do the mitzvah until Shah Shishis comes. And you don't have chametz. Retroactively, your bdika and beer became a mitzvah. In other words, it's a different type of mitzvah. When you're doing bdika, you're not doing a mitzvah. It's an obligation, it's not a mitzvah. You have to do bdika, but it's not a mitzvah yet. Why? Because we have to see what happens. It's so many strings attached. What has to happen to this bdika? What's the purpose of the bdika? The purpose of the bdika is not bdika. The purpose for bdika is to destroy it. To destroy it. When does the Torah tell me to destroy it? Not 9 in the morning. Mina Torah Shviyis, Midrabanan Shishis. So let's say Midrabanan, 11 a.m. 10 a.m. is all good. 10 a.m. you could do whatever you want. 7 a.m. you can have a chametz flea market. I don't care. There's no issue. 11 a.m. there's a mitzvah biur. Till 11 a.m. there's no mitzvah of biur. The whole purpose of bdika was what? That 11 a.m. should happen, should come, and it's chametz free. I'm chametz free at 11 a.m. So what happens? At 11 a.m., when there's no chametz because I did biur, retroactively the bdika and the biur became a mitzvah. So when did the mitzvah get complete? 11. So if I burnt the new chametz at 10, I don't have to make a new bracha, even though I burnt last night's chametz at 9.
But he said first that it's finished when you burn. It's not totally on his mind initially. He said once you burn the chametz from bdika, it's finished.
It's ready to be complete.
No, you finish getting rid of the chametz of bdika. But he says the mitzvah is not yet defined as a mitzvah. It's like in limbo. It may be a mitzvah. Let's wait till 11. Because what happens if 10:59 you decide, I'm not doing anything with the chametz, I'm leaving it in my house. What's your bdika? It's a bracha levatala. I did bdika, I did everything. Bracha levatala. It's all about the beer. And when is the chiyuv of beer? When is the mitzvah of beer? Shishis, not before. You don't have to do beer before. You could. You could do beer on Hanukkah, I don't care. But there's no mitzvah of beer before. We happen to do beer before because we want to do bittul after the beer. So we do beer before. We don't wait till 11 o'clock. We do beer a few minutes before. Just realize that, because we want to do bittul afterwards. But it's not a mitzvah. It's a hachana for a mitzvah. So bdika and beer are a hechsher mitzvah. When the time of beer comes, retroactively becomes a mitzvah.
So the mitzvah is that by Shashishis, you should have
until then.
or to destroy its shashishis. That's the machlokes. The Rambam holds tashbisu means by then. The Tosfos, the Shulchan Aruch, Harav, most poskim hold then you have to do tashbisu. Either by the, but
11:01 has to be done.
start doing it.
So what are we concerned about putting out the 10 pieces?
1 second, 1 second. Now 1 second. 1 second. I just want to. Now he says ve'efsher. Ve'efsher means we're not sure. It's a possibility. Comes next chiddush. The Balatanya was trying to explain here, what's the svaras hapoiskim? That you don't make a new bracha when you mevayir chametz that you bought Erev Pesach in the morning. It doesn't make sense. You finished your mitzvah. So this is how he explains it. So a unique type of mitzvah. It's in limbo. You're obligated to do b'dika, but it's not a mitzvah yet. When you'll do the beer in the beginning of the 6th hour. Or in the beginning of the 6th hour, you won't have chametz. Right? Now suddenly the whole b'dik and the whole beer becomes a mitzvah. Because the whole purpose of it was what? Tashbisu and bayira. When does Tashbisu begin? In the Rabbanon, beginning of the 6th hour. Ve'efsher, she'av k'shemevayim mishah shishes ve'elech ad halayla in tzarech levarach lav. It may be that even if you find chametz 3 in the afternoon, 5 in the afternoon, after the shah shishes, you still don't have to make a new bracha. Why? Now certainly the mitzvah of b'dika finished. The mitzvah of b'dika finished. Elim kein mevari b'teicha Pesach, unless you find it in the middle of Pesach. Now hear his words. The chol shelo higia ha-Pesach adayin lo nigmar mitzvah b'dika v'abir. Perhaps until Pesach doesn't begin, you didn't finish the mitzvah of b'dika and bir. Sharei eino over b'ayira b'al yemotzi ad halayla. According to most poskim, you're not over on b'ayira till the night. V'lo tzivsa toira levayir Pesach me'erev Pesach michatzoyis hayom l'mayla elik l'shlavra b'ayira b'yemotzi b'teicha Pesach mishnas bar b'simen taf lamed beis. The reason Torah says you got to get rid of your chametz erev Pesach midday and on is so you shouldn't transgress b'ayira b'yemotzi when Pesach comes. If you get rid of it in the afternoon, you have a whole afternoon to get rid of it. At night, you won't have chametz, even if it takes you 6 hours to burn it, according to the svara. In other words, even tashbisu is a hechsher for bayira bayimotze. Even tashbisu is a preparation for bayira. V'nimtza the kshemagia haPesach nigmar lemafreya mitzvah min ha'toira b'meshabodak u'biras hachametz mirishusai. So when does the mitzvah of b'dika and biur become a mitzvah retroactively? At night, sunset of Pesach. Now you're not allowed to have chametz in your house. We look, do you have chametz in your house? No. Why don't you have chametz in your house? You did b'dika, you did biur. As a result of that, there's no bayira. You did tashbis in the beginning of the 6th hour, which was also for the purpose of bayira bayimotze. So therefore, it now assumes the quality of a mitzvah. According to the svara, that means even if I burn chametz 4 in the afternoon, I don't make a new bracha. Why? Because my bracha from yesterday is still encompassing this, because the mitzvah of yesterday didn't finish yet. When is the mitzvah going to be complete? It's going to be complete only at night. He says, v'safek brachas lahakal. Because it's a suffix, you should be lenient, and therefore don't make a bracha. That's all before Pesach. Once Pesach comes, the mitzvah of b'dika is complete. So now, you have to make a new chiyuv. Comes davenei nezer. Huh? With the Rabbanon, you have to make a bracha in the middle of Pesach, because now it's a new mitzvah. But the biur of Erev Pesach, before Shah Shishis, and the Efsher, even after Shah Shishis, is one mitzvah. Says the Avnei Nezer, if so, we have a new vart. Why you say al biur chametz? Why you say al biur chametz? Why? Because it's not Asher G'tranu B'Soysav V'Tzivanu L'Vayir Chametz. It's not a mitzvah yet. It's not a mitzvah yet. When is it going to be a mitzvah? It's going to be a mitzvah tomorrow. So you say, I'll be your chametz. Or to put it in different words, as he puts it, Al is for the past. Al is for the past. So you say, Al Bir Chametz. Because the Vitzivanu on the Bir Chametz, right? When the mitzvah takes root, it's something that happened already. The mitzvah is going to be complete when? The mitzvah is going to be complete tomorrow afternoon, or according to the Avsha, tomorrow night. So even if you want to say you're making the bracha, on first vart is, it's not so pashat. This is not mamash the mitzvah. This is the hechsher mitzvah. It's going to become a mitzvah. Yeah. It's going to become a mitzvah. When tomorrow arrives, then this is going to become a mitzvah. So you say al bir. And if you want to say that the bracha is now, right, for the mitzvah tomorrow, you're just doing it early, which is strange, but then it's already a mitzvah that was done. It's a mitzvah that was done already. That's his chiddush. He says, if so, take a look at one thing, and this is what we'll leave you with, and you'll understand his chiddush when it comes to matzah and maror. And for this, I'm going to ask you, it's going to take 2 minutes, open up your Gemara, Maseches Pesachim, the last Amud of Pesachim, Daf Kuf Chaf Amud Beis. Daf Kuf Chaf Amud Beis in Maseches Pesachim. I should say, Stam, the Meiri says, he disagrees with the Rambam, because he says the bittul doesn't happen before, the bittul happens after. And he says the reason you say al is because the mitzvah ultimately is mainly tomorrow. So he actually says that word, that since the mitzvah is tomorrow, not right now, because now is only hachana, right? But here it's even deeper. It's not only the mitzvah of beer is tomorrow, even the mitzvah of b'dikah is tomorrow. So Stam, it's a very similar word to the Meiri. Take a look, here's a Gemara, Daf Kuf Chaf Amud Beis. Okay, Alma mechatzois. It's like 10 lines from the top. Alma mechatzois havale noiser. Listen to this Gemara. You have to concentrate. You're eating a carbon pesach. Till when? It says you have to eat it. V'achlu asabasa b'layla hazeh. From the Mishnah, it seems after midnight it becomes noiser, meaning you're not allowed to eat it after midnight. Mantana Amar Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah the Tanya. V'achlu es habasar b'layla hazeh. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah omer nemar kan b'layla hazeh v'nemar lahalan v'avarti be'eretz Mitzrayim b'layla hazeh ma'lahalan ad chatzois afkan ad chatzois. Fascinating teaching of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. It says about the carbon pesach v'achlu es habasar b'layla hazeh, on this night. We know it's this night because he says, it also says in the same parasha, God says, I'm going to pass through Eretz Mitzrayim ba'alayla hazeh and smite every firstborn male of Egypt. When did that happen? V'avarti chatzois. That's ba'alayla hazeh. So v'achlas habasa ba'alayla hazeh is also till chatzois. He holds you're not allowed to eat the carbon pesach after chatzois, which is, by the way, the source from when we eat the afikoimon. Since we eat the afikoimon, zeichel a carbon pesach at the end of the meal, because we don't have a carbon pesach. They used to eat the carbon pesach at the end of the meal. We eat matzah. According to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, that also has to be done by chatzos. That's the reason why you stopped afikoimon. According to Rabbi Akiva disagrees. Rabbi Akiva says you can eat the carbon pesach throughout the night. Min haTorah. He doesn't agree with this, but this is Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Says the Avnei Nezer, I have a question. How could Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah make this comparison? How long did it take for Makas B'choros to happen? A second, 2 seconds, split second, b'chatzois, millisecond. How long does it take to eat a carbon pesach? Doesn't take a millisecond, right? You're eating a kazai. It doesn't take a millisecond. An hour, a half an hour, achilas pras. It takes some time. So it says, "V'avarti be'tzam b'layla zeh chatzois." So then make a mitzvah that by chatzois you have to eat the carbon pesach in a millisecond. That's going to be a joke, right? Can't happen. It's not al piteva. So this whole Zerah Shava doesn't make sense. V'avarti happened exactly by chatzois. We don't need the carbon pesach exactly at chatzois. We can't. It's humanly impossible to give a person a half a second. So what type of this Zerah Shava is? So he says, obviously what he's learning is, not that you eat it by chatzois, that by chatzois it has to be eaten. Just like Makas B'choros happen at chatzois, right? You have to eat it in a way that by chatzois it's done. That's the pshat. So what's the mitzvah balayla hazeh? He says, when does the mitzvah happen? The mitzvah happens by Chatzois. When it comes Chatzois, and you ate the Korban Pesach, now you did the mitzvah. You ate it 9 o'clock, but that's not the mitzvah. It says balayla hazeh by Chatzois. But you can't eat it by Chatzois. So pshat is, when does the mitzvah happen? You eat it 9 o'clock. When Chatzois happens, that's when Makas Peiros happens. That's the mitzvah of Pesach. But you can't have the mitzvah then. The pshat is, by then I ate it. And he says this gives a beautiful reason why it's so important to have the taste. It says after the Afikoimon, we don't eat anything. We don't drink anything. After Korban Pesach didn't eat. Why is it so important? Who cares if you have a meal after? He says because at least if by Chatzois you can't eat it, at least you should have the shirayim of the eating. The leftovers, the residue, the flavor. I can't eat it by Chatzois. It's a millisecond. But when Chatzois comes, it could still be lingering in my mouth. At least there's eating and there's the result of eating. The eating is the actual digestion. What's the result of eating? The taste in your mouth. At least have that by Chatzois. If you put another food, you're not going to have that. Says Davnei Nezeh, so what's the right bracha? Is the bracha lechel matzah? He says, no. The mitzvah is later. The bracha is now, but the mitzvah is later. No mitzvah now, lechol. When is it going to become a mitzvah? It's going to be a mitzvah by Chatzois. Retroactively. So that's why you say al achilas matzah. Because matzah and more you're supposed to eat with the Korban Pesach. Al matzah somerim yechluhu. So mele it's not lamed, it's al. And from here he's mechadish a gewaltige chiddush. And this is his chiddush. Let's say Chatzois is 12 o'clock p.m. 12 o'clock p.m. And Baruch Hashem, you have 12 children, and 66 Ein o'clock, and 12 Ur Ein o'clock, and 4 Ur Ein o'clock, and everybody prepared a booklet for the Seder. Some of you may have been lucky to be in such zdarim. And by the time Shulchan Aruch comes, you know what Mitzrayim felt like. Everyone has to share. And you know those dharm? Everybody got to share. And the father has even more to share than everybody else. Anyway, it's 11:55. And you're just finishing your maror, your koirech. That's the Seder. What's supposed to be now, says Davnei Nezeh. You're stuck. Even a half an hour before. Okay, rush the meal, 2 seconds, a meal, afikoimon, we're done. Davnei says, no need. He says, I'll tell you what you should do. He says, eat afikoimon. Eat afikoimon. Gesundheit. Eat it, enjoy it. Then take a little break. Give another few speeches. Wait till after Chatzois. After Chatzois, go back to Shulchan Aruch and have a 2-hour meal. And then you'll finish benching Halal Nirtzah. He says, why? Why? So the whole reason we don't eat after the Afikoimen is only because Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says you can't eat the Pesach after Chatzois. What's the Havana in it? He says the Havana in it is that by Chatzois, the taste of the Afikoimen should linger in your mouth. After Chatzois, I don't care if you have a whole meal. But Meili says, according to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, after Chatzois, you're allowed to eat. According to Rabbi Akiva, who holds you allowed to eat the Korban Pesach a whole night, right? Who holds you allowed to eat the Korban Pesach a whole night. So he says, do Shulchan Aruch and then eat a second Afikoimon to be Yotzei for Rabbi Akiva. So he says, when you eat the first Afikoimon, make a Tanai. The halacha is like Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. This is the Afikoimon. I'm going to have a meal after the Afikoimon. The halacha is like Rabbi Akiva. I'm just eating a piece of matzah. I'm just eating a piece of matzah. Can't kill anybody. Holy piece of matzah I'm eating. And then you'll have a meal after. You'll do the Afikoimon later. Because you're supposed to do the Afikoimon the last thing, right? Even according to Rabbi Akiva. So therefore you'll do the Afikoimon later. 3 a.m. What are you bothered? He says that's what Davnei Nezeh suggests. Based on his chiddush, that even according to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, after Chatzois you can eat it, because just you can't have the taste till Chatzois. According to this, you could, why you say, Al achilas ha-Pesach, Al achilas matzah, Al achilas maror, because when you're eating it, you can't say, God commanded me to eat the Pesach now. It's not true. That this command, this is going to become a mitzvah only later.
Is this a local master? You can actually do it, or it's just...
According to the Avnei Nezer. The Avnei Nezer says it's halacha l'maisa, or a chayim, I think, Simon Shin Pei Aleph.
This does not answer matzah, because matzah is deraisa even without pesach.
It answers matzah. Because even though matzah is deraisa even without, but nonetheless the mitzvah min amufcher was to eat matzah with Pesach. Al matzahs u'meroyim yechlu. Marer for sure. Because over there today it's only the Rabbanan Marer. The whole mitzvah is to eat it with Pesach. But even matzah, right? Look at it says al matzahs u'meroyim yechlu. It also says be'erev teichlu matzah. So we learn that even matzah on its own, if you eat it without the Pesach, you're still mekayim a mitzvah. But the mitzvah, the way the Torah describes it is, certainly the better way to do the mitzvah was to eat it with the carbon basic. It says clearly, you get it? So when you're making that bracha, right, together with the carbon pesach, it's going to be out. So it stayed that way. Even though today we're not doing it with the carbon pesach, so it's not negeya. Right? But it's still the same nekuda. We kept that bracha.
It's not mitzvah to eat the matzah with the pesach. It's the opposite. You should eat the pesach with the matzah.
Yeah. You should eat the Pesach with the matzah. And when is the mitzvah of Pesach? Chatzos. So maybe you don't say lechel.
If you wait before the Suda, you have to wait till the
No, because you can't wait. You can't wait because you have to eat afikaiman before chatzos.
You just eat it there.
So eat afikaiman right now.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are, eat afikaiman. According to Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, because you need an afikaiman before chatzos, because it's Eichel Pesach, and then you'll do the rest later. Like the Avnei Nezer, according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, you're allowed to eat after chatzos, everything.
You just buy chatzos, you have to...
By chatzos is the mitzvah. That's his word, because like Makas B'chayris. It's like Makas B'chayris.
Why do you say the bracha al? There's another reason from the Rambam. The Rambam has 3 reasons, right?
Yeah, this is a whole other vart. This is the vart because Hashem commanded me to eat the Pesach.
Because the mitzvah is not final now.
Because it's not only it's not final, it's not a mitzvah yet.
You can't say le.
It's a heksha mitzvah.
So it's not the...
It's going to become a mitzvah at 12 o'clock.
I'm going to give you another example.
So I can't say... It's
I can't say shekadishanu b'mitzvaysev etzivanu lechel because right now there's no mitzvah lechel.
If you take on Pesach,
You understand?
It's a new thing to the
A
Rambam.
new vart. And although the Avnei Nezer says this, svara, you can't say it according to the Rambam. Because the Rambam paskins in Hilchas Korban Pesach, in Perek Ches, that Minat Torah, you can eat the Korban Pesach all night. So the Rambam paskins like Rabbi Akiva. So you can't say this whole Torah in Rambam. It's a beautiful word. Can't say it in Rambam. So now you have to say the other biurim, or Sameach, Migdalois, maybe the other explanations. You can't say this word in Rambam. The Avnei says why we say al achilas matzah. He explains why we say al achilas matzah. See, he explains it according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah. Many places can pass like Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah. And we're machmer like him. That's why we don't eat afikaiman after chatzos, the first night at least. He brings from the Chak Yaakov, who says the reason we say al achilas matzah, al achilas mara, because it says v'achlu es habasar balayla zet sliesh al matzah sumeroidim yochlu al. So that's why we say al. He says Yovan and Sukkah. Because al matzah sumerim. That's why they say al achilas matzah. But that's what the Chak Yaakov says. They don't want to change the lashon hapasuk. He says, what's the lashon hapasuk have with the bracha? Lashon hapasuk is al matzah. It says al achilas matzah. That's it. So the Chak Yaakov says they didn't want to change the lashon habracha. We're machmer like both, yeah.
First time over Pesach takes flour and water and mixes it together on Pesach. Then it didn't become chametz yet. It's still baked as matzah.
You're right. You
And
could
then
be mavatal.
Right. And then let's say you leave it. So when did you make Pesach chametz on Pesach? You did the meiser or when it retroactively when it became chametz? So the asiyah is not sometimes the completion of the asiyah happens later.
You're right.
When you're not doing any action.
You're right.
So this is in the reverse, in the negative.
You're right.
You're creating something.
You're right.
So it doesn't happen until.
You're right.
So you're eating it now, but it's not.
You're saying if I need a dough on Pesach,
It's not an avera.
it's not an avera because I could still bake it as matzah.
Yeah.
If I leave it alone,
And there's no asiyah.
20 minutes later, it becomes an Aveda. And that's the Aveda. That's when there's Bayir Rabbi Matzeh. So you're saying the Maisa that
Mice
caused...
is not the Avera.
Yeah, but over there it's a little different. Because over there, the Aveda doesn't go retroactively from making the dough. The Maisa that caused the Avera is the making the dough. But that's only a gram. Here what we're saying is, when you did the Aveda, when you did the Maisa, it's not an Aveda, not a gram for an Avera. Later, retroactively, it becomes a gram for an Avera. Right?
So it's a similar idea.
It's similar. You're saying that later it redefines the previous. Very good. That's a good word. The later reality redefines the previous. But you still will not say that the making the dough was a Maisa Avera.
Why not?
It wasn't.
was there a
You're allowed to
Maisa
make a dough on Pesach.
It became a Maisa Avera.
It resulted. If you would have baked it, not. It resulted in an Avera. What's the Avera? Bayir Rabbi Matzeh. You're saying it's the cause of an Avera.
Otherwise, I can tell you that it's a.
Well, you have a lav shame by Maisa.
You're not going to say it's lav shame by Maisa. So where's the Maisa?
You want to know, does he get Malchus?
Yeah,
Does
I
he
would
get
say
Malchus? Is it considered an Indian of a Maisa? Right?
So yes.
So the Rambam talks about it in Hilchos Chametz Matzah, yeah? The Rambam talks about it. The Rambam talks about Hilchos Chametz Matzah. Huh? Beautiful Rambam. It's an interesting thing. It's a very good shaila. The Rambam says in Hilchos Chametz Matzah. It's very nice. We have these things. Do we have a Rambam here? I'll just look it up here. Rambam Chametz Matzah. Rambam Chametz Matzah. Where is it? Zmanim.
Becomes hummus, and does it retroactively make when you started making the dough?
The Maisa of making chametz is mixing the flour and the water. But when we mixed the flour and the water, we didn't make chametz.
Right.
But when it becomes chametz, the Maisa of making chametz was mixing the flour and the water.
Right.
So it's like saying a chatzais becomes you ate Korban Pesach. But
I'll tell you what the
the
Rambam
Maisa
says,
of
one
Pesach
sec, yeah.
It was half an hour ago.
Where is it? Perek. I think it's Perek Daled. Let me see.
But if it's a lav shem by Maisa,
No, he talks about when you get Malchus. I have to look. I'll call upon him. So yeah, similar vart. So you're saying that later this becomes a mitzvah. Later this becomes a mitzvah.